Hey, what is going on, you guys? Welcome to my first video on this channel. This is actually my second channel. This is going to be my storytime channel to my main channel. So I will definitely be leaving in the description the link to my main channel. But for my first video, I kind of wanted to give a little bit of an introduction and kind of get you guys hooked with a good starter story. But before I get into what the starter story is, please consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps out a crap ton, and it's free, and I would greatly appreciate it. This is the story time of how I caught my ex cheating on me with my 13-year-old cousin. So let's just get straight into this dumpster trash of a situation. In my freshman year of high school, I was very antisocial. I looked like your average school boom boomer. You know, just not a very good looking person. I didn't really know too much about how to make myself look good. I didn't really cut my hair properly. Kind of just let it sit. I was covered in acne. I watched anime. You know, one of those kids. And one day, this girl throws a yellow sticky note with her snap attached to it. And at this time, I didn't have Snapchat. I didn't really see a point in Snapchat. I didn't want Snapchat. So I wasn't trying to have anything to do with it. So I had to wait till the next day to add her like Snap. And when I did, me and her became pretty decent friends. And she would actively hit on me and try to FaceTime me. But I would then later find out that she had a boyfriend, so I stopped talking to her entirely because to me, if you're a girl and you have a boyfriend and you're doing that shit, I want nothing to do with you because you're for the streets. Now, a few days later, after I stopped talking to her, this other girl adds me and she asks if I ride the bus. And I said no because I didn't, and that was that. We didn't talk for a few months after that. After those few months go by, we find out that we go to the same school and blah blah blah. You know how high school relationships work. You break up, you get together, blah blah, like that whole entire situation. Skip forward about 2 years into our relationship and we now live together. I was 17 and she was just shy of 18. We lived in my mother's garage. We hung out in there. We did whatever we had to do to just try to keep ourselves not bored. And one day, I invite my 13-year-old cousin over. At first, everything was normal, but one day, when he was here, and me and my ex had a fight. Keep in mind, at this point, I had caught her in multiple lies, lying to me about multiple things, about guys in her phone, about a bunch of different stuff that she was just lying to me about. And I was in my room for about half an hour, leaving my cousin and my ex in the same room for the whole entire time. Which, now when I really think about it, I was honestly kind of trying to have this situation happen to where I just kind of wanted to prove that I knew that she was doing stupid shit behind my back. So when I leave the room, they both jump as if they were doing something wrong, and my little cousin speedily walked away from her. They were face to face pretty much, very, very close, and they jumped and they backed away from each other very quick. I thought that was weird, and I called my ex into the room. We talked about it. She said that it was weird. She kind of tried to push it off as if what I had just seen was nothing and it was just him being a weirdo. When in hindsight, I kind of knew that it was her. It had to have been her. The next day comes around and all day it's pretty normal, just a pretty normal day. We're hanging out, playing Pokemon Go, walking to the park, doing our normal stuff. And later that night, I go through her phone. And my cousin sent her a text at 12 o'clock in the morning saying, "I love you." Keep in mind, I was asleep, so I don't know why that was a thing. So I confronted both of them, and they both lied. He said that he was doing it for a loyalty test, and she said that she didn't know what it was, and there's just no way. That doesn't make any sense. I didn't believe it, and as I shouldn't have believed it, there was a reason why. The day after that, we were leaving. We were about to go somewhere. We were about to go out, and me and my ex had already argued a whole bunch about the shit that she was doing with my cousin. So we were already super hostile with each other. Not physically or anything, as she lied about. She would have lied about me hitting and stuff. We just were not, talking very nice to each other. We would just argue all the time. And I asked her if she had texted him like within the time that we were about to leave, because we were all in the same room, and that was a huge boundary to me, is her texting guys when we're in the same room as them. There's no reason for her to do that. She should be able to just, talk out loud to him. Anything she can say to him, I should be allowed to hear, in my opinion. And she said no. I then went to my cousin and I asked him, and he said, "Don't get mad," and then said that they were talking a few minutes ago. And after that, that was kind of my breaking point. By that point, I was completely done. I was completely over her. She was just making me feel sick. I told her what he had told me, and she tried blaming me on the whole thing. She said that I would just get mad at her if she told me that she was texting my cousin or something weird, and she knew that I would get mad because she knew what she was doing was wrong. She was very manipulative. She was very toxic. She tried to suck off every single one of my male cousins, and she tried to tell all my female family members that I was hitting her when I never put my hands on her ever. She, as a matter of fact, hit me. So she was cuckoo crazy in her brains. We would eventually break up, and the way we broke up was very weird because she was begging me to stay. She wanted me to stay with her. She didn't want to break up. She wanted to keep talking and keep on having conversations, but I just smiled and waved and told her to get the fuck out of my house because I caught her cheating on me with my 13-year-old cousin. And what happened next with this whole situation is crazy, and this is something that I would have never expected to happen in a million years. This is something that is just disgusting. What I'm about to say disgusts me, and it probably is going to disgust multiple other people. I was on a family camping trip, meaning that my cousin was there, his mom was there, pretty much my whole family was there. My whole entire family was at this camping trip. And 3 days go by on this camping trip, and I'm vibing. I'm having a great time for these first 3 days. I'm hanging out with my little cousin, all this stuff. I'm hanging out with my older cousin. We're just vibing, goody greens going all around, just having a nice time. And one night, we're all sitting by the fire, and I'm sitting right next to Nico or my cousin, my bad, I'm about to blur that. I'm sitting right next to my cousin, and I look down at his phone because I'm like, oh, he's texting a girl. Let's see what this game is. Let's see what he got. And there was a picture of my ex, and his name was on her tit. Full on, dead ass, her name was on her tit. Keep in mind, she was 18 years of age and he was 13, and she was sending him nudes and talking about sucking him off and talking about having intercourse with a 13-year-old boy as an 18-year-old, and pretended I was the bad guy, which is just absolutely insane to me. She would then proceed to tell my mom that I was pretending to be my little cousin just so I can get back with her, when I was fucking with a whole new girl 2 days after I broke up with her because she was so fucking crazy. My brain was like, I don't give a shit. I'm not losing anything. And even then, I still was just like, man, I don't give a fuck about this girl either. And I just moved the fuck on. Didn't give a shit. I talked to my cousin who was trying to be in a relationship with her about the stuff that she had done to me, what she was going to do to him, and all these different things. And he just didn't believe me. He just played it off as me just being angry. And I'm like, dude, I don't really care that you're with her. It's not so much that I care that you're with her. It's that I care that she's going to fuck your heart up and she's going to destroy you as you did me. But whatever. If you want to go ahead and fuck around with that, go ahead. And that's what I said. I left them to it. Of course, that was probably not a very good idea, as she was trying to visit him at that campsite. There was this store that was like a 2-minute walk away from the campsite, just like this little store. And where she lived, this little store would have been like 2 hours up onto her way to her house. So she was going to try to stop and, quote unquote, visit with him when he was going to, quote unquote, just give her a ring on one of these days. And I remember the amount of shock that I was in because he didn't tell me this. He told my older cousin this, and then my older cousin had to bring me with the information about what was going on, about how my ex is trying to sleep with my 13-year-old cousin when she's an 18-year-old, just all that different toxic bullshit. But yet I was still the abuser, and it was still all my fault when the only thing that I ever did was be uncomfortable with her telling me I wasn't allowed to have like an interest in cars because one of her exes liked cars. Complete fucking insanity from this lady. Honestly, it was half my fault for letting it go on for so fucking long. I mean, if I didn't like let her have that amount of self-entitlement, I would have just broken up with her, but I was lost and I was kind of stuck. And so my message to any young man, young woman, young binary, whatever the fuck you want to be, if your partner is treating you like shit and telling you you can't have your own interests and your own stuff that is like fun to you, I'm not talking about going out and partying. I'm not talking about going to fucking bars and shit like that. I'm talking like playing video games, liking cars, liking flowers for the ladies and the guys that like flowers, liking stuff like that. You know what? Like stuff like that. If your partner doesn't allow you to be your own person, break up with them because they are fucking crazy and they are toxic as fuck. So that's pretty much my story time for the day. That is my first episode of this story time channel that I'm gonna have. I'm not sure what else we can talk about. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I've been through. I have stories of people breaking into my house. I have just stories of how I almost died multiple times. If you guys want to hear some of these stories, just let me know in the comments and I will be willing to answer any questions as well. If there's any questions that people have after seeing this video, ask it away. But till you guys happen to see the video, until I actually happen to create something for myself, I will see you guys then. Have an amazing day. I hope everybody gets up and does something that they want to do. I hope everybody is able to be productive. And just have a blessed day, everybody. See you guys in the next story time.